Well, if you're headed outside, maybe even just to play in the snow, you have to be careful in these frigid temperatures. Joining us now to talk about cold weather dangers is Dr. Lisa Gaw from Texas Children's Urgent Care. Thank you so much for joining us on this midday.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's talk about some signs of hypothermia, and then we'll get into frostbite. But let's start first with signs of hypothermia.
Yeah, so when you're outdoors for a little bit, even with this wind chill that we were talking about during the weather report, your child may start to shiver a lot. They're going to be a little bit uncomfortable. As it progresses and their body temperature drops, you may even they become a little bit more clumsy even, or seem a little more lethargic. And they can even start having slurred speech. So if any of these occur, just immediately get them somewhere warm, get them indoors if possible, and call 911.
And as far as frostbite?
Sure. So frost nip is kind of an earlier sign of frostbite. And that's kind of when the skin feels a little bit numb or can feel a bit tingly. When it progresses more to frostbite, the areas that are most at risk are those areas that are exposed. So your fingers and your toes, your ears, your nose, even your cheeks and your lips. And those areas that get frostbite, they can get real firm to touch and real cold to touch. The skin can even change color, can be a little bit white or yellow gray or just gray in color. It can even form little blisters.
I think it's important. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say, you're saying all these things. I think it's important that we ask our kids repeatedly, are you okay? Are you okay? Because I don't want them to be out playing in the snow and then something's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so there's not like a safe amount of time to be outdoors in this kind of cold weather. I would just use your best judgment. So if you're starting to feel uncomfortable, I would go ahead and bring them indoors, right? And if they're going to be out for periods of time, just to kind of schedule regular intervals where they're coming indoors to warm up.
Yes, that's a good point. Have a little check-in times. So at what point should we be seeking medical attention, as far as other than finding out from them, but anything where you're saying, okay, this is a red flag here?
Well, for the frostbite, if you're feeling that it's cold and kind of thawed, bring them indoors, get them warm. You want to put if it's like their finger, you want to put it in warm water, not hot, but warm water. If it's like their ear, you can put like a warm washcloth. Do not rub the area. So you just want to kind of keep it covered or just in the warm water. Leave it there for several minutes, then pat the area dry, layer them up, warm them up. If after you do all this and it's been several minutes and your child's still complaining of numbness, that's when I would call your doctor to get further advice on what to do.
All right. And also, how should we be dressing the kids to stay warm? I know we always talk about the importance of layers, but I mean, now more than ever, layers and insulation is key, right?
Correct. So layers are great because if they get the outer layer wet, you know, with all that powder that's out there right now, their inner layers that's directly against their skin is still dry, and that's what's going to keep them warm. Same thing with mittens and socks. You want to keep those little extremities warm to keep them from getting frostbite. If they're going to wear scarves, you want to make sure that they kind of tuck it inside their coat or their jacket, so just kind of prevent kind of choking or strangulation while they're playing.
All right, those are all great tips right there, Dr. Lisa Gaw with Texas Children's Urgent Care. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay safe yourself.
Stay warm, everyone.